politicize everything in this country, because it looks like we are politicizing everything when some of the issues are very serious and very important to Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, and I like the way the government has moved with the speed to actually formalize the housing issue. Mr. Speaker, I have been to actually so many government institutions. A very good example is Langata Prison. You go to Langata Prison where officers are living. They are living in a tent. Those days when I visited them, and I don't know the situation right now, where officers are actually sharing a space where 2-3 families are living in the same space, divided with a bed sheet, Mr. Speaker. That is really very embarrassing. Mr. Speaker, this housing issue can help so many Kenyans, especially civil servants at that cadre. Mr. Speaker, I've been to my county where the retired officers, they live in a deplorable housing situation. Mr. Speaker, with this housing scheme, you will get most of the officers actually buying houses for themselves and live in a decent manner. So I don't see why this housing issue is actually being challenged. I have seen even people in my county where the land that they own has been idle for a very long time. They are able to actually sell it to the government so that houses can be built for the purpose of housing. Mr. Speaker, that is an earning for Kenyans where they can use the same resource to even start businesses. Mr. Speaker, you will see so many youths actually sitting outside hardware shops where I come from, especially Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, with this housing scheme, they will be able to get actually employment that is not there. Number two, the kind of actually businesses or hardware that is run by so many Kenyans without actually business today, if housing is introduced in our counties, they will be able to sell materials. And we should restrict, especially the investors or those who are awarded contracts. They must actually give jobs to our people, and they must buy materials from our people in those counties. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fatuma. Senator Roba.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this affordable housing bill. And as I rise to support, I am, the unfortunate business of being in the Senate here, or Parliament as a whole, has been able to expose me a little bit to the hypocrisy of parliamentarians sometimes. Why do I say that, Mr. Speaker, sir? If the tables were turned and our colleagues on the minority side happen to be on this side, there will be emotional support for this program on the basis of the fact that it is a government agenda. I am one of the leaders maybe on this side that did not vote for Kenya Kwanza government, but joined the Kenya Kwanza government after election. And I bear witness, as having been at that point in Azimio, that the Kenya Kwanza government campaigned on the platform of affordable housing for the population of this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a transformative agenda. It may have gaps that there is opportunity to remedy over time. However, this ship has already left the dock, and it is in the high seas as it is, because this implementation has gone very far. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I support and to make sure that issues of critical concern within the bill, also the committee takes care of it, I would like to draw the attention of the committee to provisions of Article 32, 1, 2, and 3, in particular, where it talks about every person has the right to freedom of conscience, religion, thought, belief, or opinion. Every person has the right, either individually or community with others, in public or private, to manifest any religion or belief through worship, practice, teaching, or observance, including observance of a day of worship. And lastly, a person may not be denied access to institutions, employment, or facility, or enjoyment of any other right. And when I read this, I mean the Muslim population in this country must also benefit from this high housing program. What I would like to implore upon the committee and make sure that they do the necessary amendment of Section 41 of this Act in order to make sure that the definition of interest rate, issues of payment of interest, is going to be defined further in order to cater for the larger Muslim population in the country. For now, you know, majority will have their way, minority will have their say. However, in the context of what has already been decided of 4 minutes, everybody has managed to contribute, but this is the position we hold. I support. Thank you.
Senator Mandago Jackson.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. First, I want to register my support for this bill of affordable housing. And Honorable Speaker, just to make 2 or 3 statements. That one, Honorable Speaker,
Order members, Senator Kinyua, Senator
take great
Biko, please take your seats and allow Senator Mandago to be heard in silence.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for that protection. That Honorable Speaker, housing being a fundamental need for every Kenyan, and particularly at family level, Honorable Speaker, it is our responsibility as a leadership of this nation, regardless of political affiliation, to ensure that Kenyans across who cannot afford be given opportunity to live in decent housing. Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that elected leaders, people who are working, earning a lot of salary, leaders who take mortgage from taxes paid by Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, can stand in this house to oppose the opportunity that is being created by government to make sure that citizens living in deplorable conditions are able to access housing, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution is very clear in Article 43. It just doesn't talk about housing, but it talks about sanitation, Honorable Speaker. For how long should the people of Kibera live in Kibera with flying toilets, Honorable Speaker, while elected leaders who represent them, Honorable Speaker, take a mortgage of between 25 to 30 million from the taxpayers, living in good sanitation, Honorable Speaker, and want the people living in Kibera to continue with flying toilets, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that allowing the people of Kibera to continue using flying toilets is unconstitutional, because the Constitution provides that we need to provide proper sanitation. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill because it is not only going to provide affordable and social housing, but also create employment, Honorable Speaker, for the many trained young people of this nation who have gone through TVET training and will give opportunity for Kenyans to utilize their skills. I therefore support.
Thank you. Senator Joyce Korir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would also want to thank the committee for coming up with this bill. This is one of the bills that the government has been waiting, because this is one of the promises that was made during the campaigns on the issues of the affordable housing. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this is one of the bills that is trying to cure the criteria of how these houses are going to be allocated, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, this is also a bill that is also establishes the board that is going to foresee the management of the fund and ensure the efficient utilization of the same fund, Honorable Speaker. So I don't want to labor much, but I just want to say that it is also the bill that has also given room to a number of youths to be able to get employment and in a number of areas to be able to also enable this country, Honorable Speaker, to grow economically. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to request our colleagues from the other divide that let's hold our hands together, let's see things positively, let's give our critics positively, and let's embrace the change, because change is always painful. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Karen Nyamu. Give Senator Karen Nyamu the microphone, clerk. Proceed, Senator Karen.
Mr. Speaker, we are forgetting the objective of this piece of legislation. The main object of this legislation is to give effect to the provision of the Constitution to decent housing, to access to decent housing to each and every Kenyan, Mr. Speaker. And we know legislation, Mr. Speaker, does not exist in a vacuum. So if we legislate on affordable housing, we need to know next, how do we fund this project? And that's why we proposed, the government proposed the 3% levy. The Kenyans complained, and the levy went down to 1.5, Mr. Speaker. It is our honor, we are privileged as a Senate and as a Parliament to be the ones who oversee the creation of this law, to be the ones who see the implementation of this law and provision of affordable houses to Kenyans. I'm surprised that Senator Sifuna does not support this. And if there's anybody who needs affordable housing, it is Nairobians. The other day, I went for a funeral matanga in a slum.
Order, Senator Karen. Order, Senator Karen.
I went to a funeral preparation in a slum that I had never been before. Mr. Speaker, I almost cried, and I want to take Mr. Sifuna. It is called Kinyago. I want to take Mr. Sifuna, Senator Sifuna there. We take a walk there, and I'm sure he will change his mind at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, this is also an opportunity to spur the economy. Because when our youth have money and spending power, it is the country's economy that is growing. So let us not be one-sided about this program. Let us look at it wholesomely. And leadership is not about making popular decisions. That is why you are elected, to make decisions on behalf of the people in your counties. So don't go listening to voices of your county residents who do not fully understand. You're the ones who are supposed to guide them. Let them know what this entails so that they all benefit from this. And you know very well, even as you oppose it, you know you will be the first ones to want your people to benefit from it. Let's not be hypocrites, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Senator Karen, Standing Order 92 requires you to address a point. If it's Kiswahili, start and end with Kiswahili. If it's English, start and end with English. Senator Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this bill. And Mr. Speaker, I will say two things. One is that this is indeed the fulfillment of the social and economic rights as per Article 43 of our Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, allow me at this point to thank the President, because he has been very firm and determined about the implementation of the housing, the affordable housing program. Mr. Speaker, This, apart from this being fulfillment of Article 43 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, the committee on recommendation number 41A were able to appreciate the fact that, Mr. Speaker, our youth in our various counties, Mr. Speaker, in our various constituencies, because the policy of this program, Mr. Speaker, is that every sub-county, every constituency, Mr. Speaker, shall have a moment to be able to build affordable houses, creating, therefore, employment for our young people. And so, Mr. Speaker, it has an effect in terms of enhancing our economic viability as a country, engaging the youth, and offering decent and affordable housing to Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to call upon all of us in this House that, Mr. Speaker, a time comes when we need to distinguish what is critical and important for the nation. What is convenient, political, Mr. Speaker, we should distinguish. Mr. Speaker, I would like to appeal to this House, this is the assembly of great leaders of our country, that, Mr. Speaker, we reduce the political engagement on matters national, which are of great value to our people. And, Mr. Speaker, I am very certain in my own mind that as much as members of the minority side are opposing this bill, Mr. Speaker, deep in their hearts, they know this is a very important program. And so, Mr. Speaker, as we move forward, as we discuss our issues, our counties, and our country, it is important that we put our country's interests ahead of us, and then politics to come later. Mr. Speaker, I want again, as I said before, to thank the President for being forthright about this issue. He's been very clear about it, and that is what leadership is all about, standing for the country to do the right thing for our people. And, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Thank you, Senator Cheptumo. Senator Murungi Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And as a delegation from Meru, from the onset, I want to support this wonderful bill. Mr. Speaker, noting that housing is one of the basic rights that any individual should have. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the recommendations of the committee has really identified the key reasons why we need this affordable housing. Number one, we are short of good houses for our people. Number two, we are creating thousands and thousands of jobs to the youth who are out there, Mr. Speaker. We have guys who have done artisans, we have masons, we have plumbers, we have electricians. All these guys will get direct benefit from this affordable housing, Mr. Speaker. We should not be hypocritical or to close our eyes and assume that everything is okay out there. And some of these bills and programs that the government is coming up with, Mr. Speaker, it is sometimes good just to close ranks and support because we are benefiting our people. You know, Mr. Speaker, I heard one of the learned friends here say that we should not, because Article 43, of course, on economic and social rights, it is 43B, 1B. It is talking about accessible and adequate housing for our people. That is just a social right, Mr. Speaker, economic and social right. So one of the learned friends was asking from the other side, why should you go house to housing before you avail food? The Kenya Kwanza government, actually, I went to a church on Senator Chelagei. I don't want your support on this thing because my mind is very clear on what I want to put across. I was in a church service, Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks ago. And one of the elders there told me, when you go back to Nairobi, Senator Kaduri, give our thanks to His Excellency the President. Reason, because they were given affordable fertilizer, and now they have a lot of food in their garages, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the government is giving food, now giving housing. What else are we expecting? When I go through this website, Bomayangu website, from the Ministry of Lands and Housing, actually, the ongoing projects are in these key counties. Number 1, Nairobi. Number 2, Migori. Number 3, Omabay. Number 4, Machakos. You see, Mr. Speaker, all these counties and the members, the senators from these counties are opposing this bill. That is very shameful indeed. We live in Nairobi, for example, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we live in Nairobi. We know the problem was on housing in this city, Mr. Speaker. And if there is anybody who should really allow these projects to run day and night, is none other than my senator, the senator of my children, Senator Sifuna, because my children live in Nairobi and they go to school in Nairobi. So, Mr. Honorable Sifuna, on this one, I think you should change your mind moving forward. It is really helping our people. Let us all support this program, Honorable Speaker, and definitely at the end of these 4 years, you'll see everyone will be very happy. At some point, maybe it is not in the Azimio manifesto, but at some point, the leadership of Azimio were very happy with 1.5%. And when this bill was at 3.5, they opposed. Then the president, the government put it at 1.5. So I think, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I support this bill and I'm lended to vote the next minute if members allow us to do so, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Senator Wafula Wakoli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity for me to add my weight on this housing matter. Honorable Speaker,
Proceed, Honorable Wakoli.
when you look at the chain value or the value chain of the stakeholders involved in this housing project, Honorable Speaker, we have plumbers, we have masons, we have carpenters, we have electricians, we have engineers, we have young people in the villages whose talent is to make bricks that are going to tap directly into this project, Honorable Speaker. And it is important for those who are not in line with this housing project to understand that when you are putting on shoes, you may not know that there are people who don't have shoes out here. And we must have sympathy and empathize with them. That when an opportunity has come in this country for us to embrace these Kenyans, let us do so with the speed that it deserves. Honorable Speaker, the President of the Republic of Kenya was in Bungoma to launch this project. I was there, stakeholders were there, and it will be against my moral standing to sit here and see this noble project being shut down by my good friends who don't understand what housing is. So I want to support this and plead with my good friends, my good friend from Vihiga and my good friend from Busia, to join the winning team, to join us to shelter our great people from Lembe Nation. The time has come to move from the grass-thatched houses and to live in the confines of cool and permanent structures in this country. We pay taxes like other Kenyans, as you've heard, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu. I understand your political affiliation, but as they build for them, let them allow us also to enjoy the same infrastructure that they are enjoying. Honorable Speaker, I want also to inform our people at home, not me here on the floor of the House. I therefore want to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lastly, Senator John Methu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. On my own behalf, on behalf of the people that I represent, the people of Nyandarua, I rise to support this particular bill. And with very few words, Honorable Speaker, I am very persuaded that as a people, and I would want to borrow the words that have been used by my colleagues here, for us it's not necessary to make popular decisions. It is to make the right decisions. If we cannot, as a people and as elected leaders, speak about ensuring that we create employment opportunities to our people, then we shall have been very unfair to the people that voted for us, number one, and number two, to the people that we expect we shall go back to and ask for votes, Honorable Speaker. As a young person, Honorable Speaker, the young elected senator in this particular House, Honorable Speaker, it would be morally very wrong for me to vote to deny my age mates and my colleagues who have given me an opportunity to come to this House, a job opportunity, Honorable Speaker. it will hurt my heart, Honorable Speaker, if I was to vote today to tell the 200 young people who are in the construction site in Olkalau, the 200 young people who are in the construction site in Engineer in Kinangop, the constituency that I come from, and I vote and say that they should go home, Honorable Speaker. Whereas I went to them and asked to be given a job, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, and finally, Honorable Speaker, because I don't want to take a lot of time, Honorable Speaker, look at the effect of this particular bill that you're speaking about. Look at the economic effect of this particular bill that you're speaking about, Honorable Speaker. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, is very, very passionate about fighting alcoholism, Honorable Speaker. If we fight alcoholism and we are not able to provide job opportunities to our people, Honorable Speaker, why then should we fight alcoholism and we cannot offer employment opportunities to our people, Honorable Speaker? So, Honorable Speaker, if Honorable Speaker, I would feel very happy to be informed by the chair of the committee.
Senator Karungu Thangwa, what do you want to inform Senator from Nyandarua?
Mr. Speaker, I would want to inform my good friend, the Senator of Nyandarua, on that point that he has said that we are creating, or these projects will create jobs. I want to inform him, when we were listening to the stakeholders, we listened to stakeholders, some of them were Juakali artisans. And the Juakali artisan was from Kitui, Mr. Speaker. And that Juakali artisan told us they got contracts from affordable housing worth 120 million Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. And they are from Kitui. And they own houses themselves in Nairobi, in Pangani. So I wanted to inform them it is true. This is a real picture, and it is benefiting even the people from the other side of divide.
Proceed, having been informed, Senator.
That is very, very, very important information, Honorable Speaker. I would not have imagined that it would be that informed, Honorable Speaker. For the sake of the person who operates a hardware in Olkarau, Honorable Speaker, for the sake of a mason who is graduating from the Kinangop Technical College, Honorable Speaker, for the sake of that one mason that can get an employment because I voted yes, Honorable Speaker, it is for that reason that I vote for this particular bill, Honorable Speaker. Finally, however selfish I would want to be, Honorable Speaker, and all the 67 members of this particular Senate, Honorable Speaker, all of us live in a very decent, in very decent houses and very decent environments, Honorable Speaker. It would be very selfish of us if you were to vote to deny other Kenyans the same privilege that we are enjoying, Honorable Speaker. Actually, for us, Honorable Speaker, we would even take it further to say some of us are enjoying those very good living conditions out of the sweat of the people of Kenya, because we are paid from the taxes of the people of Kenya. If a certain percentage of my salary will be able to go to ensuring that another Kenyan can get as good and decent housing as myself, Honorable Speaker, it is for that reason that I vote for this particular bill. So I support.
Thank you, Senator Methu. Honorable Senators, there being no other senator interested in contributing, I'll call upon the majority leader to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all our colleagues who have taken time to speak to this bill, either in support or in opposing, because in their thoughts, Mr. Speaker, we have bettered a good idea. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate all those that have taken time to read through the bill and informed debate, speak passionately about the reasons why they feel this is a good idea for Kenya. I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, in my moving notes, that while I have moved many bills before, it gives me tremendous pleasure, and this has been a great honor, moving a bill that I know, Mr. Speaker, will change the life and the history of our country for eternity. Mr. Speaker, I am shocked that there are colleagues, unfortunately, who are terribly misinformed about the provisions of this bill. Mr. Speaker, on the question of morality, I hear many colleagues ask and say, why are you deducting my money to build houses for other people? I'd like to remind them, because many of them perhaps were not in the house when I moved this bill, and said, the reason why you sit in this house educated is because there's another Kenyan who was taxed to fund your education. If they had reasoned like you at that particular time and said, I'm educated, why are you cutting my money to pay for education for somebody else? You would not be in this house today. Kenya is built on a culture of selflessness, Mr. Speaker, and we must discourage this selfish behavior that is creeping into our country, and people are beginning to even pitch about it and speak boldly about it, that it's my money. What can I do about it? I said we are almost a quasi-socialist state, Mr. Speaker, because many times we rely on each other. It's a spirit of African Ubuntu. Actually, that's a word that I'm looking for, Mr. Speaker. We do harambes each day to try and make our lives better. Mr. Speaker, I've heard even people say that they don't understand why the houses are being sold. I think it was Senator Kavindu, that they don't understand why these houses are being sold, yet Kenyans are being taxed. There's a reason why it's called affordable, Senator Kavindu, because the amount you're being taxed is not equivalent to the value of that particular house, Mr. Speaker. If you are to pay the value of that particular house, then it will mean it will go with your entire salary. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge colleagues that you take time and read, appreciate, understand this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, before wrongly critiquing it, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, because I know colleagues are yearning actually to pay, is that I hear people tell us that this program is extremely unpopular. I want to challenge all of you that are opposed to this bill, that let us meet at the sites of these affordable housing projects in your own counties, and you come and tell the things that you are saying in this house before the young people that will be benefiting for this project. You have never been to Ndugu, where this project is ongoing. Mr. Speaker, sir,
Order, members, honorable senators, order, honorable senators.
Mr.
Order,
Speaker,
Senator
sir,
Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker,
Order,
sir,
Senator Sifuna. Order,
the
Majority
gentleman
Leader.
who is shouting has never been to any affordable site. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you
honorable
for a
members.
fact.
Order, Senator Sifuna. Order, Majority Leader.
Have I mentioned anyone? Why are they
honorable
guilty
members.
afraid? Did I
Order,
mention
honorable
anyone?
members. Majority Leader, conclude your reply. And allow the Majority Leader to be heard as he concludes his reply in silence.
I want to commend, I never mentioned, but you know what they say about the guilty. They're always afraid, Mr. Speaker. I never mentioned anyone. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee has proposed 40 amendments. And I want to commend the committee because I heard Senator Osotsi say, you never consider the views of stakeholders. If they did consider the views of stakeholders, why are they doing 40 amendments to the bill? That's a diligent work by this committee. They need to be commended. They took time to listen to people. In fact, even the title of the bill is being changed on account of a young man who came and explained the issue of rural affordable housing, and they decided to agree with him. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, even as we speak in this house, Mr. Speaker, let us be honorable enough, even as we disagree, to disagree with facts, Mr. Speaker, because in any case, affordable housing as a concept featured prominently in both manifestos of Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. So we don't understand why people all of a sudden, Mr. Speaker, we don't understand why all of a sudden it becomes a problem. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, because I know that there is nothing that you will do to convince some people that an idea is good. The only wrong thing about affordable housing is who is implementing it, Mr. Speaker. There is no need to waste time about it. I want to urge honorable colleagues that let us support this project to go to this bill, rather, Mr. Speaker. We conclude on the second reading today. We meet on Tuesday next week and conclude on the business so that millions of young people can get employment and we can build a decent country. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply.
Now, honorable members, having heard the mover reply, I direct that we go to division, and I will direct that the division bell be rung for 5 minutes. National Assembly Bills number 75 of 2023 be now read a second time. Honorable members, we are going to vote electronically, and I ask honorable members to log out from your delegates. Sergeant at arms, pull out cards which are not attended. Now, honorable members, you can log back into your delegates unit. You can log back into your delegates unit and you may proceed to vote. Senator Lenku Kajiado. Senator Tobiko, Senator Paris Tobiko approach the desk, as well as Senator Beth Siongo approach the desk. Order, honorable senators. We now have order, honorable members. Kindly resume your seats. Honorable members, kindly resume your seats. Senator Cherargei, please resume your seat. Senator Karen, kindly resume your seat. Honorable members, we now have the results of the voting. Ayes 32, nays 7, abstention 0. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 43(1)(b) of the Constitution to provide a framework for development and access to affordable housing and institutional housing and for connected purposes.
I now direct the Sergeant at Arms to draw the bar and open the doors. Honorable members, rise. Honorable senators, having concluded the business for order number 13, the Senate therefore stands adjourned until Tuesday, 12th of March, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.